Hey everybody, this is Larry Everett with Hyperspace Beacon, and I have a special guest with me this week to talk about some of the Star Wars: The Old Republic news that has happened. I have with me from Pretty Little Sith and Corellian Run Radio, I have Heather. How's it going?
Good. Just a Saturday afternoon recording with Larry.
What do you... So what's going on in Corellian Run Radio? I know you're like right after we do this, you're off to record with them. So how's that going over there?
No, we're going to have an in-game event with Radio Free. They're a guild, or they're a group that does like these RP events on Ebon Hawk. And so we're going to do a big old party with them over there. They have these events every night, but this time we're going to be interviewing them. We're going to be broadcasting the interview live on their radio station, which is at radio-free.org. So it's pretty cool. I tried to put out the message yesterday about it, but by the time you guys hear this, it'll be over.
But but Radio Free does their stuff every weekend, so they can catch it. I mean, not necessarily you guys, but they'll catch Radio Free next weekend. They catch, So
So they'll be able to catch them again, and then the interview will be on our podcast, which, if Larry is right and releasing this on Monday, it will be out tomorrow.
Excellent. Yes, this comes out on Monday, so that definitely when that's going to happen. So let me ask, since I haven't talked to you yet, and this is kind of a huge question on a lot of people's minds since E3. I just want to get your impressions of Knights of the Fallen Empire, because there's a little bit of change of focus a little bit. I mean, we're focused on one storyline, one kind of single player storyline from BioWare, and we haven't heard anything specific about operations or Warzone. So briefly, what are your thoughts on what's happening with Knights of the Fallen Empire, the next expansion?
It's cool. It's free. It's coming out later this year in October, not December. We know it's coming. So I don't know. It's cool. I'm really excited about the story part. Actually, if you recall, last time we did a little recording, you asked me what's the most compelling thing about Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I said, well, it's the story. It's BioWare doing the story, and look what BioWare's doing. They are focusing on story, which is exactly what I think they should be working on, because I think that is why a lot of people play. And I think it's great that they're doing the chapter system, because it'll get people logging in. I mean, even if they only could log in to play however long the little story bits are, you're at least logging in, and maybe you'll go do a war zone, or you'll go do a flashpoint or something while you're in there. So I think it's a good thing. It'll get people logging in and playing, and instead of people just taking big breaks all the time, there's something that motivates people to keep coming into the game and talking to their friends, and I think it's great.
One of the things ways I described it is kind of like the way that Telltale Games have been doing their stuff, like with Game of Thrones and with The Walking Dead. It's kind of, they do it in chapters and they'll do it in seasons, and this is kind of the way that I see it now. This is a little bit of conjecture and a little bit of speculation, but the way I see it is that they will, on a regular basis, which they said that it'll be monthly, they'll release a new chapter starting in 2016. They're going to release a new chapter monthly. And so what you'll do is you'll, just like you do with the Walking Dead or the Game of Thrones games by Telltale, you'll play through that. And then, if you have multiple characters or whatever, and that's what it's about now. That's kind of what it's about. And some of the other things like operations and war zones are just like multiplayer add-ons to this kind of single player game, which I'm kind of cool with. It's a little less MMO than, I'm sure that a lot of people want it to be, but I still think it's pretty cool. So I'm on board with it so far.
It's a game as long as you're having fun with it.
Yeah.
Does it really matter how you're having fun? I know there's a monthly subscription for the game which is for MMOs. That's what MMOs do. They charge monthly subscriptions. So people are trying to justify, well, do I really want to pay $14.99 a month to play one chapter?
Yeah.
I mean, the cost of gaming is just so silly to think about. Like, you have all this time that you play the game. Say you only play like 1 hour every couple days a week. That's like 4 hours a week times 4 weeks in a month. That's a lot of that's a lot of hours. And so divided by the $14.99, that's like $1.
Right.
So I just don't understand $1 an hour. I mean,
right, $1 an hour. Yeah.
It's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap entertainment if you think about it, and it's a really cheap payment in order for the game to keep going. So I don't know. I just don't understand that argument for.
I honestly don't get it either. I think a lot of it. I think some of people just kind of expect. When you have a multiplayer game or something along that line, that you get hundreds of hours. I mean, because if you go back to like the multiplayer games of like the first-person shooters and whatnot, that you get hundreds of hours worth of game time, and I think they're kind of expecting that. So I kind of see their point of view, but then again, I don't really see their point of view, because you're talking about stuff that costs a lot of money to make, and you're getting it for $1 an hour, like you said. And I think that if you get 1 hour of fun out of every dollar that you spend, then I think it's worth the cost. That's kind of my point of view.
I guess the other argument for people would be, well, what am I even going to play? I've cleared all the operations. I don't want to play these old flashpoints. Well, that's really a really, really, really small handful of people that have done that. I think I'm a pretty good player. I mean, we might have some elite players watching me right now thinking, oh, poo-poo, but, that's... I'm pretty good, and I haven't cleared all the hard mode operations yet, the newest ones. I know there's only a few guilds even that have cleared that. So I still have lots of time to be working on the current content. And hopefully it won't take me that long. Hopefully there will be nightmare modes coming out or something. But I haven't even cleared hard mode.
Yeah,
and well, it's
my server, and now I know we're a roleplay server, but there's a lot of PvE that goes on, and we have yet to get a server first on Nightmare Revan, and they might be doing it this weekend.
Hard mode Revan.
Hard mode Revan. Sorry, hard mode Revan. Yeah. So anyway, but I do want to get to today's news, and it is. This week has been a little bit of a weird week with Star Wars: The Old Republic, and the biggest thing that has happened this week was an exploit of of a chair. I think, what are people calling it? Chairgate or something along that line?
Oh God, there's no gate. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Anyway, at any rate, basically what happened, I'll give the brief details, and then Heather and I will talk about this. But briefly, what's happened is that there was a cartel pack that had on the little image, it had an elegant chair that was pictured in the collage image that they do for advertising it. And Tate Watson, one of the community managers, said, oh, well, what we'll do then, since it's in there, but it's not really in the pack, because it was supposed to be in the pack, or it wasn't really intended to be in the pack, but it was in the picture. So they're like, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll just throw it up on one of the vendors, and you can buy it for a credit, which is, they've done that in the past before, whenever some things haven't turned up. This isn't new stuff. This is old hat, and it's a really cool thing that they do. Well, what happened with this particular one is that you would, and I can share this exploit because, first off, it's been remedied, and second off, BioWare shared it. So what happens is you could buy that chair for a credit and then sell that chair back to a vendor for 100 credits. So essentially, you're making 100-fold money in like literally a second. And so you could make billions of credits like this and just like destroy an economy if you do that. And so Eric Musco went on to both Twitter and on the forums and actually in the launcher and everything, and put a warning saying if you participate in this, you will be banned, and there are other, as well as other consequences. So anyway, Heather, what are your thoughts on it? And is this the right way to handle it, or is there any more details that I missed that we should be talking about? Let's talk about that. Is there any other details that I missed?
No, that was a pretty good explanation.
And so, what are your thoughts on it? Did they handle this correctly? Is this the way they should have done it, or what do you think?
Yeah, it's an exploit. It could ruin the game. I mean, there's guys out there. Okay, there's people out there that
just the guys, just the guys,
because I don't know any girls that exploit.
Yeah, no women exploit at all.
No, but it could really wreck the game's economy. There's people buying guild ships and buying, just tearing up the game economy, and this is the bug. This is definitely a bug that could be taken advantage of in a way that is not intended for the game to function, and that's basically an exploit. So, I think they handled it the right way. I haven't heard of them taking away the credits yet, which is very, very, very interesting. But that really needs to be taken care of because, why would you ban someone but then not take away the credit? And
they banned the minimum was. Am I right about that? The minimum was 7 days for the ban.
Yeah. The minimum was 7 days, and so I think that's just BioWare saying, "Hey, we're serious. Don't cheat."
Right. I do want to compare this to the last big exploit that we know of, which was the Cortana exploit, right? With where people would go in, even though they hadn't finished defeating Cortana, they would be able to go in and get the reward for having beat her because of a bug with the game. So what I want to compare here is, in contrast, actually, mostly contrast, is what BioWare has done with this particular exploit compared to what they did with the last one. And did they handle this one better or worse, or what is your thoughts on that? Now, what is the comparison between them, first off?
Comparison, I would say, is the Cortana exploit. That was kind of a warning. That was the first time that they actually did something serious about exploits. So they did give pretty light punishments, 1 to 3 days of bans. And so it's like, hey, don't cheat in the future. We're going to ban you now, but this is just a little warning. And so now with this chair exploit, it's BioWare kind of saying, hey, we're serious. Don't do this. We're going to ban you for 7 days. And so if you continue to do that, then the
other thing that I found interesting with this one versus Cortana is that this one, the notice from Musco came that day. I mean, like literally hours after the exploit was discovered, whereas the Cortana one, wasn't it months that it was going on?
It was quite a few weeks. I remember it came out right around Christmas time when Shadow of Revan was coming out, and I don't know. I guess maybe there just wasn't enough staff. Maybe they didn't think that the effect of the exploit was as dangerous to the game. I mean, sure, there's some people that are getting gear. So what? They're not. What are they going to do with it? They're just going to go play better, right?
Yeah.
But if everyone has billions of credits, that could really hurt people that don't have the billions of credits that just play like they're supposed to play. So it does affect others that way. Whereas getting gear, okay, you got great gear.
So do you think you think then that it's related to the reason that they got on top of this one really fast is because it would affect more people more quickly, or do you think that they got on top of this one faster because they said that, oh, we're going, or that there, I guess there was a slight change of policy. I mean, is it because of the change of policy, or is it because of the impact on the economy? What do you think it is?
I would say it was partly both. Obviously, with the last exploit, they wanted to come out and say, okay, we're serious about exploits now. And so this was their first opportunity to say, hey, yeah, we're serious. And then they slammed the fist down and banned people. So,
yeah, and I do think there is a little bit of, like you mentioned before with Cortana, that it wasn't necessarily as impactful, or in general. Although it was impactful, I don't want to to say that nothing was affected because.
But it's not like that armor that you've been saving up for that 8 million armor is just gone because you didn't exploit and someone else took it.
Yeah, What I'm curious about as well is, because the Cortana one was a little bit easier to handle as far as what to do about it. And basically, all the engineers have to do is go into the back end and find anybody that doesn't have the. Essentially, I know it's a little bit more complicated than this, but find anybody that doesn't have the right achievements and then remove that armor that they gained from Cortana. It's that. It's fairly simple as far as that's concerned. Whereas this one with the credits, that could impact things all over the place. I mean, like you said, you had somebody buying a guild ship, for goodness sake. So now they're going to have to get rid of the guild ship, right? They're going to have to get rid of the guild ship and get rid of the money as far as that's concerned. I've heard of some people. There was some pretty horrible things that people were talking about doing on my stream that I hope they didn't actually do. But they talked about going on, like getting a whole bunch of credits and going to the GTN and buying the most expensive stuff that they could find. And so yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different implications here, and so I think there's a little bit of that as well because of the impact on it. So, the final thoughts on this. I mean, good thing. Do we want to see? Is this how we want to see BioWare handle exploits in the future, or do we? There's a little bit of backlash now from people saying, "Oh, they shouldn't have given out so much information," or what are your thoughts on that in general?
I think they should give information. People should know what not to do. I mean, what if you didn't know that it was an exploit? What if you're just alone in the game? I think you should know that it's an exploit and not to do it, and not have BioWare keep it a secret from everyone. We should know what's out there and what they're banning people for.
Yeah, I agree. I do think that maybe, excuse me, I do believe that maybe there was a little bit too much information given out with this one. They could have just said, hey, there's an exploit with this particular vendor or this particular item. If you are exploiting this, or if you're interacting with this item, be aware, of what you're doing, or something along that line, instead of giving out really specific details on how to exploit it yourself, which is pretty much what they did. But I do agree with you that coming out this quickly and telling everybody about it is absolutely the right thing to do, and I want to see more of this. So I'm not going to hound them on the tiny little details. The bigger picture here. This is what we want to see. This is something I want to see more of. And anyway, so that's Hyperspace Speaking News for you for this week. And I want to thank Heather for coming on, and tell us where we can find you again, Heather. Where can we find you around the internet?
Yeah, I write a blog called PrettyLittleSith.com about SWTOR and other things going on in my life. And I also am a co-host on a SWTOR podcast, Crowley and Run Radio. You can find that at crowleyandrun.com. And I'm also on Twitter quite a lot. And my tag on there is at Heather_PLS.
All right. Thanks a lot, Heather. And if you guys want to see more of what I do, you can follow me on Twitter as well, at Shadow, SHADDOE. Obviously, you're watching me on Hyperspace Speaking either on YouTube or on hyperspacespeaking.com. But Hyperspace Speaking also has a Twitter account at HSBeacon. And we also have a Patreon. If you like what you see here and you want to see more of this, you can go to patreon.com/hyperspacespeaking and support us there. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.